We're basically stripping all the nutrients out of the earth. We're spilling all this toxic waste into our home environments and into the external environments, and we're basically killing the planet. And we have to start getting a social conscience about what we're doing.
Mankind has witnessed a tremendous change in its environment over the last 150 years, in fact ever since the Industrial Revolution. And a kind of corporate arrogance, a kind of cultural arrogance prevails, whereby all problems can be solved with man's endeavour. And so this has relegated natural processes somewhat to the use of drugs, chemicals, and of course in agriculture, pesticides, herbicides, larvicides, and these types of things. And the effect it's had on our bodies has been tremendous.
Not just the personal level, but what we're doing to the society and to the world as a whole by our behaviour. Now, there are people, for example, who dispute whether climate change actually occurs. I don't care whether it occurs or not. What I do care about is the sort of muck we're putting into the environment, both within the home and outside the home, that's causing all these sort of problems and all these health issues.
It's those chemicals, it's that stress of life, it's those environmental contaminants and pollutants outside. Just for example, air pollution, water contaminants, all of those literally mean that our body is constantly being bombarded. We are leading such an artificial life, and it's quite funny because people often say, oh, but this is normal. No, it's not. What is normal is actually the hunter-fisher-gatherer.
We were basically living a pretty simple life, top of the food chain stuff. We'd wake up in the morning, pick up the spear, go and kill the food, and if the food wasn't there, you went hungry.
Now, our bodies are literally 5 million years old. Sometimes it feels like that when you wake up in the morning, but they're 5 million. Our digestive system, all of these things, our muscles, we were designed to be leading a life of the hunter-fisher-gatherer.
And the only stress we had was the acute stress of the kill. And there were no synthetic chemicals.
Fast forward 5 million years, and here we are, living inside in a contaminated environment with poor air quality, low quality food, an abundance of food, over-processed food, and as a result we have an increasing rate of chronic illness.
So we weren't designed for the synthetic chemicals, we weren't designed for the radiation, we certainly weren't designed for a constant feast. We're hungry, we eat. I have patients who come and see me and say, but doctor, I get hungry by about 10:30. I tell them to get over it. So you're hungry, big deal. That's not a big deal. The big deal is the fact you should be living to your physiology. And one thing we certainly weren't designed for was this inactivity and the chronic stresses we're all putting up with.
You know, we're supposed to be eating the fruits, the nuts, the berries. We're supposed to be eating the vegetables, the beans. We're supposed to be eating fish and an incredibly small amount of meat. We're supposed to be, you know, leading an active lifestyle, physically active lifestyle. And in fact, we're supposed to be leading quite a relaxed mental lifestyle. And all of that has been twisted so much that this lifestyle is literally killing us.
The immune system today is having to deal with tens of thousands of completely alien chemicals to the biological experience of the human organism. And what that means over a period of time is that we can become immune deficient, especially if we have the two-edged sword of the diet, or a poor diet, lack of hydration, lack of exercise, and stress cutting in at the same time.
And unless we actually start to really analyse what we're doing with all these synthetic chemicals and radiation, allowing children to sit in front of computers and TVs all day and keeping them indoors, not exposing them to the natural world and natural environment, we're going to really cause problems for future generations.
I would suggest that up to 95% of the chronic illnesses that we're suffering from ADHD to Alzheimer's, heart attack to stroke and cancer to arthritis and all those other diseases, are linked with our diet and lifestyle of the 21st century.
I think it's important to recognise the fact that 1 in every 2 men get cancer in their lifetimes and 1 in every 3 women get cancer in their lifetimes, and that we are facing a major and unparalleled cancer epidemic. These figures represent a major escalation in the incidence of cancer over the last 4 decades, and at the rate in which we're going, I think I can reasonably estimate that while we're having 1 in 2 men getting cancer now in their lifetimes, it'll become an almost universal problem in which 1 in every man will get cancer in their lifetime unless we come to grips with this question of reducing avoidable exposures to carcinogens in the totality of our environment.
In my practice, I have seen a lot of toxicity issues, a lot of sensitivity, allergy issues. We have people who are sensitive because the total load of all these sensitizing chemicals is too much for them to bear.
One of the reasons allergies are going through the roof is that when I was a kid growing up, we used to play outside in the dirt. My old grandfather, who was a Queenslander, so he used to speak very slowly, he was the only person I know who could say "ras" in about 3 syllables. And what he used to say to me is, "Ras, if a child hasn't swallowed a bucket of dirt by the age of 5, it's not a healthy child." And he was physiologically sound because there is a bacteria in dirt that actually blocks the allergic response. Now, what are we doing these days? We're keeping kids out of the playgrounds, off the streets, because we're worried about a whole lot of issues like traffic and stranger danger and all that sort of business, but they're not getting exposed to the natural environment. So they're inside in this sterile environment, and the rates of allergies are going through the roof. Food allergies have doubled in the last 10 years, peanut allergies, allergies to wheat, allergies to a whole lot of things. And I believe a lot of the reasons for that is we're not living in a natural environment.
We're using chemicals that have simply not been tested over time to see what their effects would be, say, on the blood work, the reproductive system, the endocrine system, and these problems are now being identified as disease, and then a drug is being given to that person to correct the symptom, but no way is that correcting the underlying disease process, or indeed the causative process, which could be chemical.
45% of people living in the modern world can expect to die of some form of cardiovascular disease. The rates of cancer are increasing above 30% now. They used to be around 25, they're going up to 30, 35%. They're increasing all the time, and I think one of the reasons for that is the excessive exposure to these ubiquitous synthetic chemicals, both within our homes and outdoors as well, and also the increasing exposure to radiation. And it's just everywhere in many of the products we use within our home.
We now have, I believe, a household health crisis, whereby we've seen over the last 10, 15 years a dramatic rise in a number of health complaints. We've seen asthma, and we know there's a link between the chemicals, the number of chemicals in the home and asthma rates. We've seen a rise in chemical sensitivity and lots of these other conditions that may have been caused by the chemicals either directly or even indirectly.
Pretty much everything that we're using today contains chemicals that are foreign to the biological experience of the human condition, and so we're seeing reactions from that. I mean, every year we're seeing anywhere from 30 to 50,000 adverse events that are reported in the United States alone to do with cosmetics and various personal care products.
It's important to take every single possible step to reduce avoidable exposures to carcinogens. And the major class of carcinogens to which the Australian public can focus on as a large source of avoidable carcinogenic exposures are cosmetics and personal care products.
A chemical I'm concerned about is sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, and the reason I'm concerned about it is, first of all, we know it's used extensively in industry as a degreaser, but nowadays it's found in just about every single one of the personal care products that an individual will have. So you've got it in your soaps, you've got it in your shampoos, conditioners, you've got it in your toothpaste, anything that foams up, you've got sodium lauryl sulfate.
And it is particularly harsh on our skin. It strips away all the natural oils, and it's not only on our skin that we have to look at, but this is commonly found in toothpastes as well.
And of course, in a toothpaste, it's mixed with another half a dozen or a dozen products. And of course, they can also disrupt the cells in the mouth. The SLS can then be absorbed quicker into the blood, whereas it's exactly where you don't want it. Why do you want a foaming agent in your blood? It's crazy.
I find that propylene glycol is one of the main ingredients that we need to look out for. Propylene glycol has very harsh effects on our system. It is known to be an industrial cleansing agent, so even though it might cleanse our skin and hair and so forth, we've got to look at the cost, the health cost that it has on our system. So when you're looking at products like soaps and shampoos and even dishwashing liquids and those sorts of things, that these are commonly used ingredients because they can give us us that foaming agent and that cleansing aspect.
And so we find that, for example, diethanolamine causes cancer in rats. Now, would I want my children to be bathing in a bubble bath with diethanolamine in it? And it's unforgivable that cosmetic companies are using it. It's unexplainable that the governments, etc., are allowing this to happen. But the most surprising thing is that the cancer societies around the world have not put their foot down. This has been going on since 1975. We have known about it since 1975 or 77. And so we're looking at something like 35, 40 years of complete disregard for human safety.
Look, after 20 years of research to do with the home environment, to do with the indoor air quality, it's told us at the moment we've got it wrong. We've really got it wrong. We've got to change the way we look at the home environment. Rather than worrying about the bacteria and the fact that there may be some contaminant from a natural source, we need to actually look at what's causing the big problems. And these are literally the toxic chemicals that we bring into the home.
When you consider that we are exposed to these chemicals from conception to death, when you consider the interaction between all these chemicals and the fact that they accumulate in the body, in organs, etc., the combined effect can be extremely damaging.
We have a multi-trillion-dollar industry that has interposed itself between the plucking of the apple and the eating of it. And how old is your food? How long has it been on the road? How long does it take to get it to you? How long is it stored for? Is it stored in temperature-controlled conditions that will prevent the food from degrading? We know there are vitamin C issues with food that is left lying around at room temperature. We also know that a lot of these foods are grown in soils that have become progressively deficient in minerals over the years, so we end up with sick crops.
When you're talking about Australia, we already have the poorest soils in the world. And then if you farm them just a couple of times, you're losing all of those into the plants and they're not being replaced. We literally only replace the stuff that makes the plant look tall and green so that we can sell it.
Which passes the whole problem to the agrochemical industry, who now have to offer farmers pesticides, herbicides and a whole range of chemicals to rid the bugs. Of course, the bugs are only there because the food is sick. And that's the food that goes into the food chain.
For example, if you've ever tasted a backyard tomato grown in good soil, it's delicious. And the ones you get from the shop are empty of taste and empty of nutrients.
It concerns me when I hear this nonsense that people go on with when they say, oh, but doctor, I don't need to take a supplement because I eat a lot of good food. Well, they might be thinking they're eating a lot of good food, and as I said, fruit and vegetables, very important, but I don't think in this modern society that it's enough.
What we need most of all are literally a balancing system, and that is supplements, antioxidants, essential fatty acids, the vitamins and minerals. These are absolutely essential for a healthy 21st century individual.
So in a natural world, we have that amount of free radicals, and our natural diet that we have from eating good fresh food, we create that amount of antioxidants, so we balance the free radicals versus the antioxidants. And the people living in a very natural environment don't get the heart disease and the cancer. In our world, where we get that amount of free radicals, only that amount of antioxidants, there's that huge shortfall, and that's why I believe we really need to markedly increase the dose of antioxidants we get from all sources, not just from food.
We definitely need to look at putting in additional nutrients into our system. So supplements in the form of herbal and nutritional, mineral, etc. are a very easy way to top our system up, keep our immune system on track for our life.
And there are some reasonable supplements you can get from a supermarket, but a lot of them are the cheapest varieties, and you're walking, oh, that looks pretty cheap, I'll take that. It's not going to do you any good. You're wasting your money. So if you're going to take supplements, my strong advice to everyone is to take the best quality, naturally sourced combination supplements.
Not just getting people on the right track with what they're eating, but to try and make sure that we actually top up their diet with nutrients that are missing in this day and age.
So prevention is so important, but what's the problem in our modern medical system? We have the ambulance parked at the bottom of the cliff waiting for people to fall off. So instead of fixing the rails at the top of the cliff, what do we do in medicine? We build faster ambulances. We wait for someone to have their heart attack or their bowel cancer operation, and then we give them some treatment. That's craziness.
What we need to do is to focus on disease prevention and cancer prevention. And the time for this is past. The wake-up call is we are not a healthy society, we're a sick society, we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker every day because of the reckless policies of global industries, petrochemical industries, whose interests are so great and whose influence with governments and regulatory agencies are so great that the information of the risks of their products is not being communicated to the public, hasn't been communicated to the public, and will not be.
I think what we all have to do is realise that it's not someone else's problem. If you're listening to this today, realise that what happens in the environment is every single person's responsibility, every single person's problem. So I believe life is about making a decision. It's not making the big decision that you're going to change the planet. It's not making the big decision you're going to change yourself and be healthy. It's making 30, 40, 50 small decisions every day. Decisions like, no, I won't use the elevator or the lift or the escalator. I'll walk up the stairs. No, I won't eat that biscuit. I'll have a piece of fruit, or I'll have a handful of natural nuts or something like that. I won't yell at that idiot in the traffic who just cut in front of me. It's about making all those small decisions. No, I will use a more natural product than using some synthetic deodorant. I'll use a natural toothpaste than a synthetic toothpaste. It's making all of these small decisions in your life every day that either take you and the planet towards good health, or you and the planet towards a premature death and demise. And we not only have a responsibility for ourselves, but a responsibility for our children and our children's children to keep all of us and to keep the planet very healthy.
I'm Eric Larson, CEO of New Ways. Over the years, our company has evolved in size, growing from a mom and pop startup into an international giant. In the midst of this growth, one thing has not changed: our commitment to using safe and effective ingredients, the very best of science and nature to enhance your health and life. Our mission is our guiding star. Following that mandate, we are doing even more to fulfill it. We have a new scientific advisory board who oversees our product development, and we adhere to a strict ingredient paradigm with the highest standards of testing, development, and manufacturing. There are many places where harmful ingredients and harmful toxins, pollutants, are around us. They crop up in some of the most unlikely places. They're in the homes that we live in the products that we use on a daily basis. They're in the air that we breathe. They're in the food that we eat. There are harmful and toxic ingredients all around us. The Healthy Homes Initiative really is about helping people to use good, healthy, safe products, safe ingredients that are free from toxins and bad ingredients. We look to change the world one person, one family, one household at a time.
Well, the New Ways initiative to create healthy homes is commendable. As we agreed that prevention is better than cure, to avoid all these toxic chemicals. And to have this as a mission and philosophy of a company like NuWays has is extremely commendable.
And I was very glad that I actually came across NuWays and looked at the work that they're doing as far as the safety conscious products, and I give it the 2 thumbs up, because you can actually convert your entire home right from the bathroom and laundry right through to makeup and so forth. So it's been excellent to find a company that does that so effectively.
Over the last few years, as the chairman of the Cancer Prevention Coalition, I have subjected NuWays products, consumer and personal care products, to detailed scrutiny, and have worked very closely with the company and with enthusiastic cooperation with the company to take still further steps in reducing all avoidable exposures to carcinogens. And NuWays products are now the safest in the world.
I applaud any organisation or individual who's trying to make a difference in helping people overcome serious illness or simply try to be more healthy. Not in a nagging nanny type of way. This is something we should be doing anyway, but we're not encouraged to do it centrally simply because there's no money in it. So we're seeing that this whole problem is being thrown back to the individual. So I applaud the Healthy Homes initiative that NuWays is launching, and I think it'll make a tremendous difference in many people's lives.
NuWays International is a company with heart. It cares about its people, it cares about the community at large, supporting 22 charities in Australia, work globally to support charities in third world countries. So it's not a company that's just interested in making money, money, money. It gives back to the community, and it does that with kindness and understanding.
Well, the NuWays Healthy Homes initiative is making a powerful impact, but it's about starting to make that impact with one person at a time. And of course this then expands to the family and then out into the community and a humanitarian global effort as well. NuWays has got a very big heart behind them, and what they're doing is actually, from any profits that they make, they do actually contribute a percentage of that to many, many different charities. So they're really trying to help people not just in their own home, but on a global level, providing the very basics from food and water to clothing and to research programs into health as well.
Thank you, NuWays.
The thing that excites me is that there's a real groundswell of people nowadays looking and searching for not only safe products in their home and nutritionally, but in ways that they can actually help others as well. Take a look at the business opportunity, because there really is something here for everybody, and it's a way to get out of the daily grindstone, to put a bit of money in your pocket, which you can then actually help many other people with.
We allow people to look at their financial life and to view their financial opportunities more positively, and to be able to build something for the future that they could give to and pass along to future generations. We're really looking to remove harmful ingredients from people's lives from a product perspective, but we're also looking to detoxify people's wallets.
What you're doing with the Healthy Homes initiative is fantastic. First, it's getting a reduction in those toxic chemicals coming into the home, but just as importantly, it's educating the people out there that you don't need those toxic chemicals, and the outcome of this are healthier indoor air and healthier people.
I think it's very responsible of your company to be providing these sort of healthy homes projects so people can start to think very seriously about what they're doing to their bodies. And I think that the total program you're offering is really doing something very significant for the people who are getting involved. So I would congratulate you on what you're doing.
We've had a head start in the industry for 15 years. We've always believed that this is an important mission. We've always believed that changing the world and helping families one person at a time and one family at a time is an important initiative for us. There are many companies that are doing this these days because it's popular. But even when it wasn't popular, when it wasn't as economically viable, we were involved with this because we believe so strongly in the mission.